Okay, Sniper Adventure Challenge. I'm going to go over the gear that I carried for that event. Quick overview on the event. It's a 2-day, it's a 48-hour basically adventure race with some shooting. That's a pair competition, and it's heavily graded on land navigation. So it starts at 6 in the evening. It started on Thursday night and then ended on Saturday. It started Thursday at 6 p.m. and ended Saturday at 6 p.m. So 48 hours in the field. I don't know the total distance yet, but we probably covered over 40 miles of hiking. And so knowing that you're going to be in the field for 48 hours and go super light, or going to be in the field for 48 hours and stay up for that time, you have to go super light. And so here's the pack I used with the actual gun I used. In a later video, I'll go into the gun build, but I'm just going to kind of go over an overview of everything I had in here. This is the Antero 2 pack by Kifaru, and it worked very well. At the last minute, I scrambled, went through my packs to decide what I was going to use, and this is the pack I settled on. Pretty minimal waist belt, but it was fine. Adequate shoulder padding, and it worked. This pack actually worked great. So what's interesting about this race is they have very specific things you need to carry. So I'm going to break down the pack in this first initial video and show some of the things that to carry. On the outside, they require that you have basically a reflective belt around your pack. So just tied this. My partner gave me this little LED light. They require that you have an LED light on the back of a red flashing light on the back of your pack for at night. And you need to have a whistle handy. So this is the whistle. It's a little titanium whistle by Vargo. And everything in selection for this race looked for the lightest weight stuff and tried to find lightest weight in class. Obviously, here's my rifle. I had it on the right side of my pack or the left side as you're looking at it from there. And this system worked fine for retaining it. If I do this race again next year, which I probably will, I'll look at a better system. The rifle also needs a sling, so I put a little 1-inch tubular nylon sling that I tied with a simple knot in there. In this pouch, I carried the radio. So we had a radio that they issued us, and that was required to go in here. Also on the outside, you see my Camelback. So they require that you start the race and carry 3 liters of water on you at all times. So you start with 3 liters, and you should have 3 liters on at all times. And it was hot and long, so that was a good recommendation. So for those 3 liters, for 2 of them, I used this Platypus 2-liter Camelback, or not Camelback, Platypus hydration system. It worked great. I was really happy with it. It has this nice slide on, slide off, easy to open, easy to fill. The 3rd liter, I actually kept in this outside pack, and it was another single Platypus 1-liter bottle that worked great. And the reason I wanted the 2 is because if this ever punctured, I'd have a second system or a second bag essentially for water. So I had a backup. And in this one, I also kept my Element, which is a sodium replacement, which I'll talk about my nutrition in another video. So this was in this outer pouch. Then you open it up, in this back flap here, you had to carry a pistol and 3 mags with you at all times. So I had pistol, I'll go into that eventually, the carrying case, magazines, and in this top pouch here, 3 rifle magazines. I was the AR gunner, shooter, so I had to have 3 AR magazines that went into this little top pouch. Then you break it down even further. Carried this little Spartan bipod, which was great. It worked well with this gun. I'll cover that also in another video later. And then I had this dry bag that held a few items, and this, which held my food. So the race was 48 hours, but about every 12 hours you went back to camp and you were able to restock some of your stuff. So in this food bag, when I kicked off, I had 2 Next Mile meals, and 2 little snack components that I made up. And in another video later, I'll go into the actual nutrition. In this bag, there's, as I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff that was required. This was a trauma kit, and my teammate Michael Wax, he made the trauma kit all up, and he had it all labeled with everything in it. Great lightweight setup. He really slimmed it down and made it the most efficient it could be. And this was, again, all required gear. You also had to have a medical kit, which is different from the trauma kit, and he also put that together too. And here was that. He had, actually that was in this one, sorry. And I broke into this one because I needed to get some medicine and some stuff for my blisters. I got a blister during the race, so I needed to get into this one to treat some of that. I never broke into the trauma kit. Moleskin, this stuff was great for blisters. I packed some extra. And I had some Aleve, which I see now has fallen out. And I took Aleve once during the race at about the 24-hour mark. Also, you have to have a way of filtering water. Never used it, but I did have a way to filter the water if needed. You need a space blanket. Had my space blanket. You need a strobe light, way to start a fire kit. I had that too. Again, these are things that they require in the race kit, and eventually at one point they did check to see if you had this stuff. Had some gloves, never used the gloves. Gloves were recommended, didn't need them. I could have maybe worn them a few times, probably won't take them again. And of course, this was actually in my pocket, but it's in this bag right now from when I packed. Had a compass, Silver Ranger from the Navy days. In my pants pocket, here was the map. Carried the map. In the beginning of the race, I actually had the map packed, and Michael had the only map out. And I thought we'd just go off of his map. That was a bad idea. He told me to get my map out. So eventually I got my map out, and for the rest of the race, we both had our maps readily accessible. And then one other piece, major piece of equipment, so in this top flap, I kept my headlamp and notebook. The headlamp was definitely necessary for night movement, and this was definitely the wrong headlamp to take. I tried going light on every piece of equipment that I had, and I went super light on the headlamp. I didn't realize how beneficial it would be to have a powerful headlamp, especially for finding the land nav points. So this was a lesson learned. This was a bad idea. I will not use such a lightweight headlamp next time. I'll use something a little heavier with a little more power and batteries that last a little longer. So that's the overview of everything that I took, and I will go into some of these things in detail in later videos. Thank you.